3 black SUVs pull up outside your farmhouse at 6:43 in the morning. You've never seen cars that clean on this road. Men in suits step out, expensive shoes sinking into your red dirt. One of them is holding a folder thick enough to be a Bible. Another is on a phone speaking a language you don't recognize. They're walking across your cassava field. Toward you, you're holding a hoe. You woke up at 5 a.m. like you always do. Like your father did before him. You don't know what these men want. You're about to find out that the ground beneath your bare feet is worth more than everything your entire country earns in a year. Act 1. The life before. You are 47 years old. You have farmed this land since you were 9. The farm is 340 acres of red soil in a valley so remote that the nearest paved road is 23 kilometers away. There is no electricity. There is no running water. Your phone works only when you climb the hill behind the farm and stand in a specific spot near the old mango tree. Your house has 4 rooms. You built 2 of them yourself with mud bricks and corrugated iron. The 3rd room is where your 3 children sleep. The 4th is where you store yam and dried maize for the dry season. Your annual income is approximately $800. You have never owned a car. You have never been on an airplane. The farthest you have ever traveled from this valley is 140 kilometers to the regional capital. Twice. Once for your wedding. Once when your son got sick and needed a hospital. You are not unhappy. You have food. You have family. You have land. The land your grandfather farmed. The land your father was buried on. The land you have always assumed you would be buried on too. You have no idea what is underneath it. Act 2. The knock. The man in the lead suit introduces himself. Government geologist. He shows you a badge. You don't fully understand what it says. He asks if you are the owner of this land. You say yes. He asks if you have the title documents. You say they are inside. Your father kept them in a metal box under the bed. You have never had reason to take them out. He nods slowly. He looks at the ground. Then he looks at his colleagues. Something passes between them. A look you cannot read yet. He asks if he can come inside. You offer him water. It is what you do when someone comes to your home. He accepts. His colleagues wait outside. You notice one of them is photographing your cassava field with a device you have never seen before. Inside, the geologist opens his folder. He places a map on your table. Your land is outlined in red. Then he places a report. 47 pages. Dense with numbers and terminology you don't understand. He points to one paragraph. He reads it to you slowly. Preliminary geological surveys confirm the presence of significant deposits of lithium, cobalt, and rare earth elements beneath the property. Conservative estimates place recoverable reserves at a value exceeding. He pauses. He looks at you. $47 billion. The room goes quiet. You look at the number on the page. You look at your mud walls. You look at the metal box under the bed where your father kept the land documents. You don't cry. You don't celebrate. You don't speak. You just sit there, with the weight of a number you cannot comprehend pressing down on you like the sky itself just dropped 6 inches lower. Act 3. The world finds out. Within 72 hours, your life is unrecognizable. You don't tell it to spread. You tell your wife. Your wife tells her sister. Her sister tells the pastor. The pastor mentions it in a prayer. By Sunday, the entire valley knows. By Monday, journalists are at your gate. You don't have a gate. They stand at the edge of your farm and shout your name. By Wednesday, 3 lawyers have arrived from the capital. None of them were invited. All of them are offering to represent you. For free. Each one of them drives a car worth more than your farm produced in the last 20 years. By Friday, a government minister calls. You have never received a call from anyone in government in your entire life. He is very friendly, very warm. He calls you brother. He invites you to the capital for a meeting. He says it is just a conversation, nothing formal. You don't go. Something in your stomach tells you not to go. That instinct will save your life. Act 4. The education. Your son is 24. He studied 2 years of accounting before the money ran out. He is the most educated person in your family. He becomes your first advisor. He sits with you for 3 nights, reading the government report, translating the language, explaining the numbers. He tells you things that rearrange your understanding of everything. The lithium under your land is used in every electric vehicle battery manufactured on Earth. The cobalt is used in every smartphone. The rare earth elements power the defense systems of 6 of the world's most powerful militaries. Your 340 acres of red dirt sits on top of the materials that run the modern world. Every tech company, every electric car, every military, every government that wants to stay relevant in the next 50 years, they all need what is underneath your cassava field. And right now, you own all of it. He also tells you something else. He tells you that in every documented case where mineral wealth was discovered under land owned by poor farmers in developing countries, the farmer ended up with almost nothing. The land was acquired through pressure, through legal manipulation, through government compulsory purchase orders, through violence in some cases. He reads you the statistics. You sit in silence. Then you say 4 words. Not this time. No. Act 5. The offers. They come from everywhere. A Chinese mining consortium offers $200 million for full mineral rights. Cash. Immediate transfer. They show you photographs of the life you could live. House in the capital. Cars. School fees for your grandchildren's grandchildren paid in advance. $200 million sounds like all the money in the world. It is 0.4% of what the land is actually worth. An American company offers partnership. 30% royalties. They will handle everything. You just sign. 30% of $47 billion is $14.1 billion. Except the contract has 340 clauses. Your son reads them all. 3 of those clauses, buried in legal language on pages 28, 97, and 201, reduce your actual entitlement to 3% under certain operational conditions that will definitely be triggered within the first 2 years. 3% of $47 billion is $1.4 billion. Still a number you cannot comprehend, but it is not what they offered you. And it is not what you are owed. A government delegation arrives with a compulsory purchase order. They say it is for national development. They say the minerals belong to the people of the nation. They say your compensation will be fair. They offer $4 million for the land. Outright purchase. For land worth $47 billion. They call it generous. Your son stands up and asks them to leave. Act 6. The war. You hire a lawyer. A real one. Found through a contact your son made online. An international mining rights attorney based in London. Her retainer is $50,000. You don't have $50,000. A human rights organization hears about your case. In exchange for the right to document your story, the legal battle takes 19 months. During those 19 months, 3 men approach your eldest son in the market and tell him his father should accept the government's offer. They don't threaten directly. They don't have to. The message is in their eyes. Your farm is sabotaged twice. Crops destroyed overnight. You don't know by who. You file a police report. Nothing happens. A newspaper publishes a story claiming you are not the legitimate owner of the land, that your grandfather acquired it illegally. The story contains no evidence. It runs on the front page for 3 days. You receive death threats by phone. You move your wife and children to your sister's house in the regional capital. You stay on the land alone. Every morning at 5 a.m., you wake up and walk your fields the same way you have walked them for 38 years. The ground hasn't changed. You have. Act 7. The Reckoning. Your case reaches international attention. A documentary filmmaker arrives from Europe. A parliamentary question is asked in 3 different countries about your situation. The human rights organization publishes a 60-page report. Your lawyer files in an international arbitration court. The pressure becomes impossible to ignore. The government negotiates. After 19 months, a settlement is reached. You retain ownership of the land. A royalty agreement is signed. 18% of all mineral extraction revenue. Independently audited. Internationally enforceable. 18% of $47 billion. The number is so large it has no emotional meaning. You try to feel it. You cannot. Your lawyer calls you to give you the news. You are sitting on the hill behind the farm, near the old mango tree, the spot where your phone works. You hang up. You look at the valley below. Your farmhouse. The cassava field where the men in suits first walked toward you 14 months ago. You think about your father, who farmed this land his entire life, who died not knowing. You think about his father, who farmed it before him, who also died not knowing. 3 generations of your family walked this ground every morning, felt this red dirt between their toes, buried their dead in it, fought drought and flood and hunger on it, and underneath every single step they ever took. Act 8. The New Life. Money arrives in a way that makes no sense to your nervous system. The first royalty payment is $340 million. You sit in a bank office in the capital while a man in a suit explains what this means for your accounts. He uses words like portfolio, diversification, asset management, estate planning. You are wearing the same shirt you wore to your son's school graduation 7 years ago. It is your best shirt. The bank manager offers you coffee. His hands are slightly shaking, not yours. You move your family to a house in the capital. 8 bedrooms, garden, security. Your children have their own rooms for the first time in their lives. Your wife walks through the house on the first night, touching every wall, not saying anything, just touching. You build a school in the valley, named after your father. You build a clinic, named after your mother. You bring electricity to 12 surrounding villages, because the darkness was always the enemy and you can finally afford to fight it. People from your valley call you every day, asking for money, old friends, distant relatives, people you have never met who claim connection. Some of them you help, some of them you cannot. The ones you cannot help stop calling. Then they stop speaking to you when you visit. Wealth arrived, and quietly, without announcement, it began removing people from your life the same way poverty once did, just with cleaner hands. You still wake up at 5 a.m., not because you have to, because your body doesn't know how to do anything else. Some mornings you stand outside the Capitol House in the dark before anyone else is awake. The air is different here. No red dust, no sound of the valley. You think about the cassava field. You think about the men in suits walking across it. You think about the $800 a year, the 4-room house, the metal box under your father's bed. And you think about this. The land was always worth $47 billion. On the day you were born, it was worth $47 billion. On the day your father was born, it was worth $47 billion. On the day his father walked it for the first time, it was worth $47 billion. The wealth was always there. The world just didn't care until it needed something from it. That is not a story about one man and one farm. That is the oldest story on earth. Resources have always existed where poor people live. The question was never whether the wealth was there. The question was always who would control it. And for once, just once, the answer was you.